The DJI Osmo Action 4 was just released to sit alongside the Osmo Action 3 rather than replace it. So with so many similarities between the two, what exactly sets the Osmo Action 4 apart from the Osmo Action 3? And is the video and photo quality that much better than the Action 3? So keep watching because I'll get onto that later, and I'll also reveal which is camera 1 and which is camera 2. But don't worry, I'm not going to do that for the entire video because that would be incredibly unhelpful and very annoying. I'm just curious to see from the last couple of clips if you can tell the difference between the Action 3 and the Action 4, and then for the rest of the video, for the comparison clips, I will label each camera accordingly. But yeah, I just want to see from those last few clips if you can tell the difference. So drop a comment which one is camera 1 and which one is camera 2. But in the meantime, here are 8 notable differences between the Action 4 and the Action 3. Actually, really quickly, I saw a few comments from people asking whether the accessories from the Action 3 would work on the Action 4, and the answer is yes. You can use the cage and the batteries from the Action 3 on the Action 4, which is really great. Okay, so one of the differences is the price. The Osmo Action 3 starts at $329 for the camera alone, and the Osmo Action 4 starts at $399 for the camera on its own. Alright, so I'm currently in Cardiff today. Thought it'd make a nice change from going to London, and obviously testing out the Action 3 against the Action 4. And I've currently got the colour profile set to normal. They're both in 4K 25. I don't have any external mics on either of them, so I'm just using the microphones that are coming from the cameras. And the settings are all just set to auto, just so that you can get an idea of what the cameras are like just in their auto settings, so auto exposure. The Action 4 also has a bigger sensor at 1/1.3 inches compared to the 1/1.7 inch sensor of the Osmo Action 3. Plus, DJI has now included 2 brand new settings, sharpness and noise reduction, giving you even more creative control over your footage, something that you can't adjust with the Action 3. But there's also another additional setting that the Action 3 doesn't have, low light image enhancement, which means that the Osmo Action 4 should in theory do better than the Osmo Action 3 in low light. Both cameras are set to a max auto ISO of 12,800 just to see what the footage looks like, and obviously the Action 4 has got its auto low light image enhancement on, so I would definitely expect it to do better than the Action 3. And looking at the screen at the moment, it is doing a really good job, so yeah. Pretty decent, I would say. Really decent. A couple of other differences unrelated to video quality, which I'll get onto in just a sec, is waterproofing. The Osmo Action 4 is waterproof up to 18 meters, whereas the Action 3 is up to 16 meters. But when it comes to max photo resolution, the Action 4 is a little less than the Action 3. It's quite windy today, so I thought I'd let you hear what the audio sounds like from both of the cameras without an external microphone attached. But I've decided to also just put the DJI wireless mic on as well, and I'm recording directly into the transmitter, so I'm not recording into either of the cameras. It sounds great when you do record into both of the cameras, just with the receiver plugged in, and then you're just recording the audio directly into the footage. But I thought it'd just be easier just to record it onto the transmitter and then just sync up the audio in post. And then it'll also give you an idea of how the audio is when you sync it between the transmitter audio and then the audio that's coming from the camera itself. So it's pretty windy, like I said, and I've got the wind noise reduction setting on both of the cameras, so it should be doing a fairly decent job with both of the cameras, but we'll see anyway. And I think I'm not too far away from the castle now. 4 minutes. So straight over there, and then I should see it up ahead. So this is still in the normal colour profile, and the sharpness and noise reduction on the Action 4 are both set to the lowest setting, so -2. Obviously the Action 3 doesn't have this feature, so it'll be interesting to see what the footage looks like up against it in terms of that. And oh, there it is. Castle's up ahead. So when it comes to the last two differences, they both impact video quality. And so this is where seeing the footage side by side is going to help you determine whether there's a notable enough difference to warrant getting the Action 4 over the Action 3, if image quality is something that is really important to you, whilst also taking into consideration the other 6 differences that I've already mentioned. So I'm sure you noticed the flat colour of those clips because both of the cameras shoot in a flat colour profile. The Action 3 has the D-Sunny Light colour profile and the Action 4 has the D-Log M colour profile, which isn't quite as flexible as D-Log because the image gets processed, but it gives better detail in the highlights than D-Sunny Light does, even though D-Sunny Light captures more colours. But what if you don't want to shoot flat shooting in D-Sunny Light or D-Log M, but you still want to get really good dynamic range? Before I get onto that, remember how I was showing you different bits of footage shot with camera 1 and camera 2? Which one did you think was which? Camera 1 is the Action 4 and camera 2 is the Action 3. Did you get it right? Let me know in the comments, and what made you think that one was one over the other? Okay, so for the last point, while the Action 3 does have a dedicated HDR mode, the Action 4 doesn't, but that's only because DJI has optimised the Action 4 to have great dynamic range without needing a specific mode. I've just switched over to the Action 3 being in HDR mode, so I've enabled HDR mode on the Action 3. Obviously the Action 4 doesn't have this, so it's just filming in its native colour profile, the normal colour profile. And I'm just wondering if there is much of a difference in terms of the dynamic range, because to me, I feel like maybe the Action 4 looks a bit better. But what do you think? Does it show against the Action 3's dedicated HDR feature? I think for overall video quality, the Action 4 wins, but the Action 3 isn't too far behind. The Action 4 just seems to have better detail and more clarity, and that's even when it's set to low sharpness, low noise reduction. The low light is also better on the Action 4 as well, which is to be expected because it has that low light image enhancement. If it wasn't, then there would be a question, but it definitely looks better on the Action 4. And in terms of HDR, I would say that this is very, very close. So when you put the Action 3 into HDR mode, which I also have it in now, it's very difficult to see much of a difference. In some scenarios it's quite noticeable, but in the majority of cases the HDR between the Action 3 and the Action 4, when the Action 3 is in its HDR mode, isn't that noticeable. But then when it comes to the flat colour profile, so D-Log M for the Action 4 and then D-Sunny Light for the Action 3, I do prefer D-Log M because I think it does colour correct and colour grade a lot better than D-Sunny Light on the Action 3. Both cameras equally benefit from using an external mic. I forgot mine today, but luckily it's really quiet, so there's not a lot of traffic and noise, so you should be able to hear the audio quite well, and it's also not very windy. So on days like today, if you don't have an external mic with you, it's actually not too bad because the audio from both of the cameras actually sounds really decent for action cameras. So if you already have the Action 3 and you aren't that bothered about image quality, as in it's not the most important factor for you, then I would say, and also you're not really bothered about shooting in low light, then I would say just stick with the Action 3 because it's a great action camera and you get really great quality from it anyway. Audio is the same pretty much from between the two cameras, so there's not much benefit if you're just going to be using the Action 3 in auto settings, normal colour profile, not really wanting to colour grade the footage. So I just say stick with the Action 3. But if you have more of a budget and you want to, and you really do value that higher quality look, then I would say the Action 4 is probably the one to choose because, and also if you're going to shoot in low light situations as well, because it just has that bumping quality. And then also with D-Log M, like I said, it's just gives you more flexibility when you're colour correcting and colour grading the footage. So yeah, that would be my perspective. And for me, I would, if I didn't already have the Action 4, then I would upgrade from the Action 3 to the Action 4. So anyway, I hope this video was useful to you and it helps you make your decision. If it was useful, do drop me a comment and let me know, and also just give the video a like as well because it helps out the channel and I really appreciate it. So thanks for watching and catch you guys on the next one.